Today, the launch of a momentous campaign to eradicate illiteracy among children in India. Welcome to Chai with Manjula, a show about giving. Despite India's economic growth and progress, close to 100 million children there risk being left behind, unable to read or write even though they are enrolled in schools. The largest non-profit organization there in the area of education has launched a remarkable campaign to ensure that all of these children acquire basic reading, writing, and math skills. Certainly a daunting task. The organization is Pratham, and the program is called Read India, which has already impacted 21 million children there during the first year of its launch, with another 40 million to go during the next 2 years or so. And having chai with me are two leaders from their San Francisco Bay Area chapter. We have Aruna Goradia, the president, and Amar Rao, the vice president. Amar and Aruna, I'm so glad that you could join us today. And I'm certainly looking forward to hearing about Pratham and sharing the story of Pratham with our viewers. So tell us, how did Pratham start? Give us a brief overview of the organization, its mission, its history.
Pratham is actually a grassroots education NGO, and the aim is to eradicate illiteracy from India. We are serving the underprivileged children who are living in the urban slums and in the rural areas with the primary education. As you know, our the main focus is the primary education, because at Pratham we believe that giving a strong foundation to a child builds a good future for him. For example, if they have a good preschool, good primary education, then the chances are that they won't drop out. They will take interest in their education, and they will, using it as a springboard, they would leap far into the future with their education career.
Okay, so when did it start and who started it?
It was started in 1994, seeded by UNICEF, and then it was handed over to Dr. Madhav Chauhan, our current founder, and under his leadership, we started with 2,000 children from the Dharavi slums of Mumbai. Today, of course, you know the story that it has reached to 21 million children.
I see.
Basically, Madhav was the founding force behind it.
Okay.
And essentially, one of the basic principles was, look, in the 21st century, if India was to join the vanguard of nations, okay, couldn't do it without having a literate, educated workforce. Especially, as you know, with globalization, the needs of the workforce are changing, and if you're not literate, you can't even be employed.
Right. Education is definitely important.
So that was a very fundamental goal of Pratham, and so that basically focuses on primary education.
Okay, and Pratham is obviously a very successful organization in the area of education in India. What's the secret of its success, and what makes it so unique?
Yes, so that's a very, very good question. In fact, your audience would probably say there's a lot of good organizations in the area of education,
right,
especially in India also. So one of the things I had to face also was when I decided to support Pratham was, I wanted something that was special. And so for me, the things that really stood out was, a couple of different things. One was the audacity of the Pratham goal, that basically said we're going to eradicate illiteracy, and this is, you talk about over 100 million people, and in terms of a charitable organization, the scale was just fantastic in terms of the scope. And then the other thing was the innovativeness of them. In fact, they won some special awards, I think international awards in the area of innovation in terms of as an organization, and it's really has to do with the scalability. So the model is such that it's very decentralized and can scale, and in fact it's been proven because we're supporting over 20 million children already. So that was the second thing that said would scale. The third thing was that it was a very cost-effective model in that they weren't going to invest in any infrastructure, but and not try to compete with existing institutions, but actually supplement them. So the idea was to help kids learn better and help the government, teach better. So basically, it's a partnership that Pratham has formed with private sector and the government.
Interesting. Tell us about that also, the partnerships that you
Yes,
formed
in the
with
sense that it really varies depending on where. But for example, in terms of if you look at the indirect programs, we'll get into that. We're actually teaching the teachers, and training the teachers. So we're really not trying to create a parallel school system or anything like that, but actually supplement it and then also become an advocate for raising the consciousness of the nation in terms of education and the importance. So we're getting heavily recognized. In fact, Madhav meets with the Prime Minister, on a regular basis, and the Aser report, which again we'll talk about, has really found a lot of attention from the media.
So give us a better sense of it in terms of numbers. How many states, how many schools, how many children are being impacted by Pratham?
With our Pratham programs, we have been able to reach about at present 21 million children across India in 18 cities and 18 states and 50 cities.
18 states out of about 28
out
or
of
so
about
in
20.
India, right? Okay.
And we do have a government MOU with the state government, about 10 to 12 governments, and the rest we are working.
Yeah, let's hear. Go ahead.
So one of the things I want to add is, in terms of uniqueness, is the learning methods. So Pratham has, in fact, that's what the confidence is about, okay? The replication of the model, the scalability, and also the effectiveness. Within 2 months, okay, they've figured out a way to be able to impart basic reading and writing and arithmetic skills into these illiterate youngsters who have no support at home. Parents are usually illiterate. So that model has worked, has proven itself, and then they've scaled it up. So it's very, very well done.
Accelerated learning programs.
Yes,
okay, we'll talk about the U.S. Activities later on. So tell me quickly about the programs that Pratham has, and also about the Aser survey, which is very important. So let's hear about that.
I would like to talk about Aser survey. Amar, if you want to talk about the programs.
Okay, let's do that.
Sure. So the programs are basically twofold. We categorize them into direct and indirect.
Okay.
Right. And the indirect are called catalytic. And the direct programs, up to date, okay, from '94, we've reached more than 1 million children. Okay. And they
more than 1 million children
in terms of the aggregate accumulated number, and I think I think at any given time it's about 600,000. That's the number, and those go into a number of different categories. So the first one is that what we call Balvadis, which is a preschool education, which is something that is very, very common here in the West, but especially in the poorer sections of India, that was something they were missing out on. And as you know, they start school with a big disadvantage. That those early years where they really can soak up the knowledge, they're missing out, and the passion for learning is not instilled in the children. So that's something that's been a very successful program. It started in Dharavi, and so we today cover about 50,000-60,000 children. Okay,
so 50,000-60,000 children are going to these primary
preschools, and
preschools.
Usually it's about 20 children in a school, and usually taught by a young woman, okay, who's maybe high school caliber, usually from the same community, whether it's a slum or the rural area. And so one of the side benefits of this program has been we have 10,000 of these women who now have a reason to be proud of themselves and have some self-esteem and have a status in society, whereas previously they were maybe just sitting at home, being abused by an alcoholic husband or by the mother-in-law or something like that, and doing nothing of substance.
Okay.
Now they have that. So that's one. And then the other big thing is the library program. So that actually covers about 450,000 children. So we literally have thousands and thousands of books in all these places, and that again instills a passion for learning. So children can come and borrow the books and then return them. So that's the library.
So preschools, libraries.
And then you also have a remedial program, which is basically for kids that maybe started school, but since they weren't prepared, the parents are not interested, they drop out. The idea is to give them a second chance, to bring them back in and get them lined up so that they can get back to their grade level. And then there's also a couple of other programs like for abused child laborers, a more direct program. So we have people that have been working in these factories, young children, and the parents send them off because they don't see the value of an education because they're illiterate, and then they see a source of income. So it's been a very difficult task to get them out of those environments, and then some of them have to be housed, and so it's more expensive. But that's again very successful. Okay. And lastly, we're looking at also vocational programs, again, that's again at the pilot stage right now, which would be for 15 to 25-year-olds, creating employment opportunities where we are going to build these. Actually, in the first time we'd actually create these vocational centers. The idea is to have at least one per district in the long term. That's the goal.
Skills.
And actually have tools, and then so they can become some kind of skilled mechanic,
computer
or
skills, or
auto mechanics,
English.
yes, vocational types of things for people who probably not going to go to college and get a computer science degree or work in industry. This is a very good approach. So again, it's at the pilot stage where we have high hopes for that program. And then on the indirect side, which is where we got more than 21 million today, the big one is a Read India program. So
And I also read about that publishing of books. That,
so part of this this thing is, remember, in 18 states, each state has its own language. So there's a huge amount of work required in creating these materials in all these languages, and then the techniques, the phonics, or the methods of training the teachers. So there's a very elaborate set of work required to create that on an ongoing basis.
Okay, and Read India, of course, is the focus of our discussion today, and I would like to talk to you at length about that and learn about it. And of course, the Aser survey.
Yes, we should talk about Aser first.
Yeah, whichever way you want to go.
Okay. In 2005, Aser survey was initiated, and it is the people-initiated survey, and our intention was that a wide range survey was taken nationwide, and then our results, we wanted to present it to the central or the federal government, that what is the status of our schools or the education, primary education in across India. And it was initiated in 2005.
I see.
And we had about 750 NGO worked with us, and Pratham facilitated with them, and about 20,000 volunteers were mobilized across India, and they were randomly selected villages and randomly selected households, where our volunteers, they went by bus, they went by foot, they went by train, and everywhere they reached. And then what their goal was, they went to these households, the pre-selected households, and pre-selected in the sense of statistically selected households. They went there, and in presence of the parents, they tested these children from 4 to 14 years of age. Depending upon, they would ask them, what grade are you in, so and so. And then if he says, okay, I'm in the 2nd grade, and then, our volunteers will conduct a test right then and there, which would include about reading a simple paragraph, or for a smaller children, recognizing alphabets and numbers. And, for higher grade, maybe subtraction and division and those kind of math abilities, and they were tested on. So
okay, so hundreds of thousands of
yes, I would say 500,000 to 750,000 children were tested across India. That gives the result. I have brought that book here, but anyway, it is called Aser survey book.
Now, I'm sure as a result of these surveys and statistics, Read India program was initiated, which is about eradicating child illiteracy. So tell us, how does it work? What is it about?
In fact, Aser led into Read India. In fact, the Aser survey was a wake-up call, and so and particularly given the confidence that Pratham had gained in the slums and in the earlier days of imparting these techniques. So we basically said, we're going to take on an audacious goal. In 2 years' time, basically by April, it started in, Read India started in April 1st, 2007. And the goal, again, just like Pratham, everything we do is on a large scale. By 2009, we will have gotten to 60 million children, across the country in 600 districts and 600,000 or 600,000 villages. So this was an audacious, again, goal, but actually, we're making great progress. So at the core of it, that's what it is. Read India is simply to impart to children the basic elements, or be able to read at their grade level, be able to do simple math, do division, and then Aser would be a constant feedback loop once a year that would say, how are we doing? So for the first time, we actually had an objective measure. It wasn't just empty talk and just throwing money at a problem and then hoping it'll work. This time, you actually could, and in fact, from 2005 to 2007, there's appreciable in the states that we worked in. For example, the the reading level went up, I think, in first grade by 7 percentage points, I think from 52 to 59, and then in another category from 61 to 69 in just 1 year. And this is on a large scale, okay? You're talking about...
Yeah, just over a year they have already reached 21 million children.
That's right. And so the goal is to get to 60
and
million.
And
success begets success. So now we're getting, everyone's noticing, including some of the large, philanthropic organizations, and so we're receiving some very generous contributions to help. For example, Gates Gates Hewlett, they formed a partnership in the area of education, and we received a $9 million grant over a 3-year period, and that'll cover 100 districts, okay, Read India. And so that's being put to use. And then Google also then gave $2 million. That was, again, obviously anything Microsoft does, they have to do it a little bit different. So they said, we will actually do a mechanism to separate out Aser so that Pratham is doing the work, they shouldn't be doing the testing also. So they're basically separating out Aser work so that it's an independent organization. So it's really looking out as an advocate, independent of Pratham. So that's the work that's going on this year.
We call it Aser Institute, and then it will be a third-party evaluation of the claims made by Pratham that we have educated 21 million children. So it will bring more credibility to
and the percentages and the improvements.
And we should tell our viewers, what does Aser stand for?
Aser is the annual status of education report.
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
ASER.
Okay.
But it has a meaning in Hindi, I think.
Yeah,
Aser means change.
Oh,
and that's what change. In fact, you are right.
Right. You are certainly very proud to be a part of this organization, and I appreciate that you have also brought us a documentary. We'll take a look at that, and we'll come back and talk further about the organization.
Sure.
If you could help move millions of children towards a better life, would you turn away from the challenge? If you could push a nation to read, would you say no? And if you could do all this in just a few years, would you be surprised? It's what Pratham is on the road to achieving in just over a decade from its inception. The truth was simple. The public education system in India is unable to fulfill the demands of children. It seemed impossible that a single method or a single organization could tackle the needs of 190 million children. But Pratham did. It created a way which operates at 4 layers simultaneously. The first is direct action in urban areas. Setting up balwadis for preschool children, creating learning programs to help children gain more from school, starting and running libraries, using its experience and knowledge to help communities set up learning centers, and creating breakthrough innovations like Pratham Books. The second is the Block Catalytic Program, which acts as a catalyst to improve education in rural areas. Pratham mobilizes volunteers and supports communities in improving their children's skills and in taking more power over their children's education. The third is to make an impact on the government education system through state-level campaigns to improve basic literacy and numeracy skills. This is done by drafting and implementing programs that reach millions, training teachers, and encouraging education departments. Pratham's final step is to then monitor how well its mission is going, using the annual Status of Education report, Aser. The first one, done in 2005, is the largest ever survey conducted by a non-governmental agency anywhere in the world. Pratham concentrates its efforts on the quality of education rather than on enrollment, because of one simple truth.
If you get schools to perform better, it's very likely more children will stay because parents are looking for that value.
Pratham is on the move so that India can move faster to its dream of universal elementary education, faster to an empowered, educated community, faster to a time when every child in India is in school and learning well.
This is really amazing. Looks like Pratham is literally transforming the education system in India with its own programs and working with communities and governments, developing its own tools to take surveys and to monitor progress and all that. It's really something. And all of this is happening because you are obviously raising a lot of funds and you have some big partners. So tell us quickly about that and Pratham USA in particular.
Sure. So Pratham India is the one that actually provides these services, and we have a number of overseas partners. You know, Pratham USA was created in 1999. There's also Pratham UK, Pratham Middle East, Pratham Germany. But Pratham USA is a big benefactor to the work that's going on in India. So we have about a dozen chapters, you know, and they started in 1999 in Houston, and now about a dozen chapters, and we keep increasing that every year. So the Bay Area chapter, as you know, we started in 2004, and so each of the chapters raises money towards that goal. And in 2007, we raised, between the chapters, you know, volunteers and individual donations and corporates and sponsorships, about $11 million, okay?
Wonderful.
And so out of the total of 20
so
million.
altogether, so far, Pratham USA, do you know how much money they have raised?
I would say it's close to $20 million.
$20 million.
Yes, because if you
That's
go back,
amazing,
yes.
amazing. And you have some big name partners. I was reading your literature here. Tell us about the partners that you have here.
Yes, we have, mainly we said before that we are funded by the Gates and the Hewlett Foundation, and they have provided us $9.1 million over 3 years and pledged to serve 100 districts in India. And then we have Google Foundation. They have given us $2 million to work or establish the Aser Institute, for the third-party evaluation of the survey.
Nice.
Then we have the corporations and foundations, private individuals, and we do have quite a bit of those, people like Wells Fargo and.
Yeah, I have a
So
long
many
list
other.
here.
Yeah.
And what are the activities of the local chapter here in San Francisco Bay Area?
The local chapters, our main intention is to do the outreach for the Pratham projects and so bring the awareness.
I see.
And the second thing is we would like to raise funds to support these projects in India.
And how do you do that? Do you have events, and what kind of events do you have?
So we sometimes have outreach events, where the fundraising is not important, but the message is spread. And the second thing is where we have the gala and upscale type of events where, we attract the individuals and corporations to sponsor us, and we raise funds. Once a year we do those events.
Right now, and you have one coming up soon.
Yes.
When is it?
Manju, it's coming up on September 13, 2008, and the venue is Fremont Marriott in Fremont, California.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it, the highlight, who are the guests and all.
It is an upscale event, and we have...
I heard it's a black tie affair.
Yes, it's a black tie affair, and then we have a fashion show, and many Miss Indias are coming, top supermodels are coming, and
I
some
see.
of the local models, we have hired them from here. We
That's
have
exciting.
Dr. Sam Pitroda as a keynote speaker, and Simone Singh, she's an actress and TV personality. She's going to be our MC. And it's going to be a sit-down dinner and very elegant event.
And you're going to have fashions supported by some of the top designers in India, from Bollywood,
Satyapal
Satyapal.
and Deepika Gehani.
Yeah, so
I
people,
see.
they're household names. In fact, when I was in India, I saw these brands everywhere. You know, so high
Okay,
upscale.
so
So we're very excited. It's going to be very, very elegant, and so it's a bit pricey, but it takes a lot of money to host that. So tickets are $150 a ticket.
We have corporate sponsors.
Yes, we have sponsors, so we can sell tables. So we're definitely looking that maybe folks in your audience will consider supporting us.
Right,
at that
and they can
event.
find this
Yeah.
information on your website, right?
And you can make a
Yes.
contribution directly at the website. you
Okay,
know.
what is the website?
Website is the prathamusa.org.
Okay.
And they have to look under Bay Area chapter. Also, Los Angeles, LA chapter and Seattle chapter are doing the same shows. So we this time we have West Coast chapters. We combine together to save the cost.
And the
Okay.
other thing is, in terms of how people, I don't know if you're going to ask that question, but definitely I'm interested
Go
in
ahead, you go ahead of me.
suggesting that there's a number of ways. We really desperately need to grow the organization in the Bay Area. We're looking for volunteers to help. There's all kinds of activities throughout
Yeah,
the
how
year.
can people help? Tell us.
Yeah, so people can come and join our committee, volunteer committee. We meet once a month, and we plan up and dream up activities to do outreach and to raise funds. And then obviously these galas and their big work efforts to put them on nicely. So a lot of fun things. You could be doing marketing. You could be involved in the brochures, involved in actually fundraising. In terms of the event management, so there's all kinds of opportunities to
They
volunteer.
could also go on the website and they could donate there if somebody wants to celebrate the 25th anniversaries or birthdays or something. They could designate Pratham as a choice of charity, or they could attend our events.
It ranges. So we have high donors, right? For $15,000, you can actually do this sponsor Read India for your own district. So so you'll actually be given credit for a year in terms of supporting that. You could help support one of these vocational centers. So for the upscale, high net worth individuals. But then at a retail level, you can just donate $10 or $100 or
any amount
hundreds
of
of
money is
dollars
welcome.
on the website, or we can be approached the organization. So we meet in Santa Clara, the first week of every month, first
Okay.
Wednesday.
So all this information is available there on your website
Yes.
if people
Under
want
the
to
Bay Area chapter.
look up.
Yes.
With that, I thank you both for coming and telling us all about Pratham, which is definitely an amazing organization doing incredible work towards eradicating illiteracy among children in India. And I wish you success with your fundraiser and, of course, with Read India program.
Thank you, and thank you for having us on the program
Yes.
and
It was my
allowing us
pleasure.
to get some outreach into the audience.
My
and
pleasure.
we
Thanks for giving us opportunity to
You're
speak about
welcome.
Pratham.
And with that, we come to the end of our program. If you joined us late, we were talking to two leaders of Pratham organization from their San Francisco Bay Area chapter. You may view this show at our website, chaivithmanjula.org. And I thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back again with another inspiring story about giving and people making a difference. For Chai with Manjula, I'm Manjula Gupta. See you next time.